Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sandra, and in today's video I'm going to share the top 8 skills to have as an interior designer, and we're just going to jump right into this video. So let's start with number 1, and that is project and time management skills. There will be instances where you will be working under pressure a lot, whether that's in school or in college. You're going to be kind of working under pressure to get the project completed in the timeline that you were given. And you will also be juggling multiple projects at once, so it's not just one project. You're going to be dealing with 2 or 3 or 4 or maybe even more. So creating a system that works for you to make sure you are staying on top of everything and you don't miss a deadline is really, really important to have. So number 2 is attention to details. Now, I'm not just talking about the little design details, I'm also talking about the little critical details you need to watch out for, especially like reviewing quotes, making sure that what you told them is what is translated on the quote and that it makes sense. Reviewing shop drawings and making sure that what you told them is what they're going to be designing. If there's something that doesn't make sense to you, ask them to elaborate on that. Going on site visits and making sure that the contractor is following your design, so what's on paper is being translated into reality. Checking the little design details about each individual item that you are sourcing for the project. Is this material slip resistant? Does it fit the family's lifestyle? Really thinking thoroughly about each design detail that we source, along with reviewing the quotes that we get to make sure that the address is right and the quantity is correct. As a designer, you're going to be dissecting every single little thing, so just catching those small little errors will save you a bunch in the future, because I know I've made my fair share in making mistakes in this field. So it's always so great to, double check everything, triple check everything, check for those little fine prints, print out a quote if you have to and read it. Number 3 is problem solving. So clients come to us when they have a design problem they want us to solve, and sometimes they have like this big space or a giant room and they just don't know what to do about it, so they come to us to solve those problems for them and put everything together. Sometimes you have like the husband and wife or their partner and completely opposite spectrums, and you are like the middle person, and you have to find the common ground for them to kind of come to terms and making sure that you make both parties happy. Number 4 is communication. So you are going to be communicating with a lot of people, and that's builders, contractors, architects, vendors, clients, your fellow colleagues, a lot of people. So if you're working on a project and something major changes or you're giving updates, it's always really good to keep that communication going. Let the parties or the people involved in the project, let them know what's happening, keep them updated, what's going on. I think it's always really great to have a good line of communication, set some clear expectations about what you expect from each and one of them, relay that important information back to them. So there's going to be a lot of written and verbal communication, lots of phone calls in there sometimes. Number 5 is being tech savvy. I think some people will argue with this skill and replace it with drawing skills, but I mean, we live in an era where technology is everything. So I really think that it's a great skill to have, to be able to pick up new technology fast, because these companies, like, not all of them are going to be using the same software. There's some companies that use Revit, there's some companies that use AutoCAD, SketchUp. Everyone has their own preferred method, so I think having the ability to kind of pick up on that like really quick, and knowing how to work a computer, a phone, any other different program, I think is pretty important. Moving on to number 6, it is budgeting. So I think it's a great skill to have a basic understanding of how a budget works, how numbers are, and the budget breakdown. So numbers for me is not really my forte. It's well, back then it wasn't really my cup of tea, and I understand it's not everyone's preferred kind of skill to have, especially being a designer. You just kind of want to design, and there will be some jobs where you only and solely focus on design, and I did have that type of job where I did the design, we had a sales rep who did the quoting and figured all the numbers and all that stuff, and I loved it. I was like, I just get to design, it's great. But then when I moved on from that role and I was working with a budget and I was the person in charge of creating the budget, I felt so out of touch. So I think having a good understanding of how a budget works, how to get pricing on material, how just like kind of the breakdown. So if you are in school, I think it's really great to kind of get yourself understanding, kind of start small, maybe Google some budget examples of interior design, some quotes, and if you are in a workplace where you solely just kind of design, maybe ask to see if you can take a look at the quotes so you can familiarize yourself with budgets and numbers, because down the line you will eventually have to learn how to make a budget and stay within a budget and kind of know the numbers and all that stuff. Number 7, it's a no-brainer. It is being creative. You have to have this. This is one of the main skills to have in order to become interior designer, is knowing how to be creative, how to do things differently, creatively, how to tell a story using colors, materials, textures, and how to transform a client's vision of what they're thinking in their head into reality, and just kind of making spaces functional and aesthetically pleasing, because our job, one of the main things in our job is making spaces beautiful. So gotta be creative. So actually, as I'm editing this right now, I realized that the last skill that you need is knowing how to measure and reading a tape measure. There will be times where you have to go out in the site and measure the space, learn how to scope out the, like draw out the floor plan and put in the measurements. I think it's essential knowing how to read the tape measure. So if you haven't already, bust out that tape measure and start practicing how to read it, how to use it. And I will say there is a little bit of math involved being an interior designer, so I think the only thing you kind of have to do fastly is learning how to convert feet to inches and inches to feet. And that is it. Those are the top skills that I think are super important to have as an interior designer. That is what I have seen, that is what I have experienced. And guys, when you are coming out of college, don't expect to be 10 out of 10 for each skill. As time goes by and as you gain work experience, you get better over time, so don't be so hard on yourself. You could be like a 5 out of 10 on project management, but 10 out of 10 being creative. So, you know, you learn your weaknesses and you learn your strengths. These are the top skills that I think that you should be able to kind of work on and excel in the future. But yeah, that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give this a thumbs up and I will catch you on the next one.